4ZZZ presents Z51. Come mark it another day, celebrating the furthering years of our beloved 4ZZZ radio station. Saturday, October 24th, 2026, from midday to 10 p.m. Join us for Z51, 13 bands at Roma Street Parklands with music, stalls, and that incredible community spirit. All ages, 2 stages, and no crossovers. Featuring Mudhoney, Barker, Custard, The Mark of Cain, Cash Savage and The Last Drinks, Shonen Knife, I Heart Hiroshima, Tape Off, Dem Mob, Mitch Please, Super Hotel, Still Full from Lunch, and Baby Cool. Tickets available from Oztix, with a discount for all 4ZZZ subscribers. Proudly brought to you by 4ZZZ.
4ZZZ. Eco Red.
Radical Radio Collective.
4ZZZ.
Good afternoon, listeners. You're tuned into 4ZZZ 102.1 FM. This is Eco Radio, Australia's longest running peace and environment radio show, probably. And we are taking over your middle of the day, middle of the week, end of the month airwaves. My name is Dave. My pronouns are he, him. And I want to start off by acknowledging and paying my respects to the custodians on the country in which we broadcast. We're located in the city Mungangin, or Meanjin, on Turrbal Yoga Yugambeh land. I also want to acknowledge and pay my respects to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who are listening in today. Our radio waves reach Cubby Cubby and Jinibara country in the north, Waka Waka country in the west. In the east, we pay our respects to the Quoll people, and down south, we reach the Commarin, the Garragwal, Mununjali, Wanjerabara, Yugambeh, and Bunjalung countries. There is no Crown land. Everyone remember that. Thank you to No Idea for another wonderful show. Today on the show, we're going to be talking about whales, sort of. We are pumped to have Paul Bewes join us in the studio. Paul, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Dave. It's great to be here.
Fantastic. Paul is the Brisbane chapter coordinator for Sea Shepherd. He's also the organiser of Sea Shepherd's Queensland events for the Ocean Defence Tour. So thank you so much for joining us, Paul. I suppose we can start things off. We did just play Jessie Wells' song Whales. I thought it was a fitting song for the chats we're going to have. But can you tell me what is Sea Shepherd? When I think about Sea Shepherd, I think about the anti-whaling operations. But it's had a long history, starting in 1977. Can you tell me what you know about Sea Shepherd?
Okay, that's a fairly good intro there, Dave, in terms of, yes, it is about whales, but it's about the ocean. So Sea Shepherd formed 50 years ago, 1977, as you said, and it had a clear purpose to actually protect and defend the creatures in the ocean. Right, so it started in Europe. And came off the back of Greenpeace, and it was more a setup for direct action.
Yeah, because Captain Paul Watson, the founder of Sea Shepherd, also one of the founding members of Greenpeace, was kicked out because he was too direct.
Yeah, it's an interesting story, that one. I won't make too many comments in terms of the fact that there was a difference of opinion a few years ago.
Oh, sorry, I wasn't meaning that. I meant he got kicked out of Greenpeace.
Well, yes,
and formed Sea Shepherd.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yes. There has been a number of developments in recent years. I won't go into those too much in terms of the fact that Sea Shepherd still has a direct action approach. And I guess we've come a long way since those early days back in 1977 where it was full-on direct action. And at that particular time, we probably had the largest private navy in the world, right?
Yeah.
We had 14 ships. It's now down to 4.
Right.
But 14 ships was a fairly big task force that we had protecting the ocean.
Yeah, so can you tell us some of the ways that Sea Shepherd protected the ocean, maybe starting back then and leading up to what we see now?
Initially, it was about whales and protecting the killing of whales, but it evolved more into illegal fishing, and that still is one of the major focuses for Sea Shepherd, which is illegal fishing. I guess the main thrust back then was whales, but then, as I said, it evolved into illegal fishing, and that pretty much is the direct action now. So the whaling is now no longer a major. Well, it's not a major concern. There's no more whaling in Antarctica. The countries that did whale still whale, but they whale in their own waters.
Talking about Japan and Norway.
Yeah. And they're not members of the IOC, the Whaling Corporation, so therefore they can still whale, but they tend to sort of keep it local.
Okay, I didn't realise that they weren't whaling in Antarctic waters anymore.
No. They've moved to their local areas. Coincidentally, Sea Shepherd probably monitors some of the work that's been done in Japan with some of their dolphin, the way they capture and kill dolphins.
Right. This was documented in the fantastic film The Cove, and it's where fishermen, I guess, corral dolphins into a cove and basically stab them to death. Yeah.
And I guess that's something that probably a lot of people don't realise, that we actually still have our eyes on certain areas. We have had some influence in Iceland.
Okay.
So we've been involved in Iceland to try and reduce the amount of whaling there. It still happens, and but not probably to the extent that it used to.
Okay.
But again, that's in their own waters, so it's really something that we can't deal with from a global point of view.
Yeah, because when I think about Sea Shepherd, I grew up in the 90s and 2000s, and I suppose more 2000s. A lot of the media was around Sea Shepherd going in front of Japanese whaling vessels that said they were whaling for research purposes, really getting in front of their harpoons and trying to protect the whales that way. And it seemed like really dangerous, but also very effective in bringing media attention to the whaling. That's sort of my understanding of Sea Shepherd. What are the campaigns now?
Okay, so let's just briefly touch back on those years, back in the 2010, 11 and 12. They were fairly heady times, some close calls. As you say, it was dangerous. And I guess at those times we had the Steve Irwin, the Bob Barker, the Andy Gill. The Andy Gill didn't last too long because it got done by a Japanese whaler. So
yeah, these are vessels that you're talking about, and sometimes they were involved in ramming incidents.
Yeah, it was fairly direct.
Yep.
But the overall effect, Dave, was that it became too difficult. The spotlight was so strong about what was happening in Antarctica that the Japanese eventually and the Norwegians walked away. So it basically, by 2015-16, it was all over.
Yeah.
So you could probably chalk that up as a pretty big win for just tenacious direct action.
Yeah. And now some of the campaigns are focusing on drift net fishing and ghost net collection, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I guess just to give a little bit of context, globally we have 3 ships in the Northern Hemisphere. One in the Mediterranean, one in West Africa, and the other one is in the European, Baltic, Atlantic area, and that's primarily focused on illegal fishing.
Yep.
There's just been recent media. If people want to jump onto Sea Shepherd YouTube, you'll see the work that we've done in West Africa, where we've, with the Age of Union, which is our ship that operates there, have taken a lot of illegal fishing out of play.
Right.
And we don't do that by ourselves. We work with the local constituencies.
Right.
And governments.
And when you're talking about illegal fishing off West Africa, are we talking about, big catch-all nets or... Yep. Okay.
Yep. And that's sort of large scale in the Mediterranean, which is, it's more about the octopus.
Right, okay.
And what they call FADs, which is fish attracting devices. So these traps are kilometres long, and the guys currently last year worked with the Italian authorities to remove octopus from these traps. So we're talking 16,000 last year where octopus were removed.
Right.
And the guys are currently on that campaign. And I guess that's from that illegal fishing.
So when you say octopus were removed, 16,000, you're talking about removed from those catch-all nets, or
no,
they were caught?
They're moved
and
from
they were killed.
Specific traps, Dave.
Okay.
And so the octopus get sucked into these things, and what they do is the Italian authorities guide us to where the illegal fishing is, and we come through and free all the octopus.
Right.
So they pull the net, the lines in, and take them out of the pots. So it's back-breaking work.
Yeah,
and again,
right.
direct action to remove these octopus. So
Also, it must be fairly dangerous. You're dealing with illegal fishers, fishermen probably not too happy that you're pulling up their nets.
yeah, well, that's pretty true, Dave, but we allow the Italian authorities to deal with the illegal fishermen, and we deal with the octopus.
Right, okay.
So there's a clear demarcation about who does what.
Yeah.
So that's sort of what's happening globally in terms of what we're doing, which is essentially illegal fishing.
Yeah.
Right? If we focus down into Oceania, we've got our one ship called the Alan Kay, which is based down here. It's based in Auckland, and it at the moment is in Tuvalu in the Ocean Pacific area, chasing down illegal fishers. And about 2 weeks ago, there was a fairly large capture of illegal fishermen.
So if we're talking about illegal fishing in Oceania, in the Pacific, what are we talking about there? Is it just another catch-all net or something different?
It's small scale.
Okay.
It's a smaller scale than what I'm about to talk about in Antarctica.
Okay.
It's probably I'll leave it at small scale.
Okay.
But it's still illegal fishing in marine sanctuaries and that sort of thing. So
right, is it the collecting of sea cucumbers without the proper equipment, or
it varies in terms of the fish being taken.
okay?
Yeah. Sea cucumbers is a problem in areas like Bougainville.
Yeah.
And those fishing companies operate on quite a small scale.
Yep.
Yeah, they're just individual ships.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's bigger than that, but smaller than catch-all nets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The catch-all nets are serious.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's go to a song now, and we'll come back and we'll talk about Antarctica. So we've just been talking about Northern Australia and the Pacific, and you've picked this song. This is King Stingray with Sweet Arnhem Land.
Yeah.
Is a particular favourite of Sea Shepherd in Australia, right?
Yeah, and the reason is that our guys, in part of one of our campaigns, that we do remote cleans in the Northern Territory with the rangers, the Indigenous rangers, and our guys are currently in Groote Island, starting their clean up there, the third clean of the year. And
Are you talking about cleaning up the coastal areas
with plastics and nets. And the like? So I'll talk about that later. But King Stingray is the go-to because our guys know them personally.
Yeah, right. Nice. Well, this is King Stingray with Sweet Arnhem Land. You're listening to 4ZZZ. This is Eco Radio.
They tried to bury me. They didn't realise I was a seed.
You're listening to Eco Radio, the radio of the future. The future.
You are listening to Eco Radio, the radio of the future. Thank you, small child. We just heard then from Yothu Yindi with Jabana, or Sunset Dreaming, and before that was King Stingray with Sweet Arnhem Land. Because we are talking to Paul Bewes, the Sea Shepherd coordinator for Brisbane chapter. Paul, thank you so much for joining us.
Yep. Thanks, Dave.
And we were just talking about some Northern Australia cleanups that Sea Shepherd does. And earlier we were talking about how the whaling has stopped in Antarctica, but Sea Shepherd still has operations down there. Can you tell me what Sea Shepherd's doing in Antarctica now?
Yeah. So as you were saying, that the whaling basically finished in 2015. Which
is awesome.
Which was a huge win. Yes, yes, absolutely. What's happened over the last few years since 2018, 19? The commercial groups, fishing groups, are targeting krill. Now, krill is the basis of the ecosystem for Antarctica.
Right.
And that's what whales feed on.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of going for the whales, they're now going for the krill, which forms that basis for the ecosystem. And when I was talking about the smaller scale illegal fishing in the Pacific, we're talking something off the scale in Antarctica. We're talking huge factory ships that run 24/7 for months.
Yeah.
And what they're doing is actually legal. So they can take, at the current level, 620,000 tonne of krill. And that's generally it's the Norwegians, where they can legally collect this. And those nets are huge, Dave.
Right.
They're absolute monsters, and they're a factory ship. So what they do is they process the krill on board and they transship it put it onto another ship and send it away. The reason they're fishing for krill is so that it can be used in pet food supplements, so omega-3, krill oil, and funnily enough, to use it to make salmon pinker.
Really?
Yeah, you wouldn't think that.
Yeah.
So all of those items that it's being used for really don't have to be, you don't need krill to do that.
Yeah.
So there's
the turning salmon pinker thing is it's cosmetic. It's just because we think salmon and we think,
pink.
It's pink. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I guess that's on top of the amount of steroids and antibiotics and that goes into farming Atlantic salmon,
right?
Which is a totally other story.
Yeah.
But I guess with that in context, so there's one particular area of Antarctica that they're currently looking at, and there's about, it's hard to say because there's not a lot of scientific evidence, but there's about 400 million tonne of krill in Antarctica, and it moves. Mm-hmm. They don't all sit in one spot. They move around. So the whales chase the krill and the fishing ships come in as well.
Right.
So you see these remarkable sights of a massive factory ship with its nets dragging the krill up to be processed with the whales all hanging around. And there was a story from our Alan Kay about a whale that chased the fishing ship for 2 to 3 days.
Right.
So what we do is we head down every year into Antarctica. We've been doing that since 2018. So our purpose is to shine a huge spotlight onto what's happening down there.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that's the way that we now deal with in terms of direct action. So we have scientists on board as well who actually are monitoring krill levels and where the krill is.
Mm-hmm.
So they can, from a scientific point of view, figure out where the krill are and what's considered sustainable.
Mm-hmm.
So, and there's a lot of conjecture about what does that truly mean. And you could assume sometimes that you're fishing in one spot, but that could be where all the krill are, where 1% and the other 99% somewhere else. So I guess what we do is we go down there and we just focus that and do a lot of scientific evidence and just track and monitor the factory ships.
Yeah. Has there been any illegal activities that have been observed, or
no? It's all totally legal, as I said. It's totally legal. And their catch is 620,000 tonnes.
Yeah, it's just observing and reporting the data about how sustainable it can be or it can't be.
Well, Sea Shepherd's view is that there shouldn't be any krill fishing whatsoever at all, right? That there's different views by different groups, but that's our view. But the way that we can actually make that happen is by shining the spotlight. And so through that, we have actually been able to convince the big pharmaceutical companies and distributors in Germany and Britain to take krill off their shelves.
Right, okay.
So that's what it's about.
So what it seems to be is like the palm oil campaigns to end palm oil plantations. It's the same with krill fishing. Is that it's overdone, and there are campaigns to end it with supplements and so on.
Yep,
right.
That's exactly right. So there's been success in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
And that's now being, the campaign is now transferring from what we call our offshore, which is the Alan Kay, our ship, to onshore. So the campaign at the moment is to focus on convincing pharmaceutical groups in Australia to take krill off their shelves. And the way that we're doing that, and there's a few other groups who are doing the same thing as what we're doing. We happen to have a ship that actually goes to Antarctica. Is that if you go to our Sea Shepherd website, you can actually hook straight into our Antarctic campaign, and it will take you to an area where you can actually get Sea Shepherd to send an email to those various groups.
Right. Yeah.
Right? And we see that as a form of direct action.
Right. Sorry if you've already explained this, but what is the direct detriment to the ecosystem if krill is taken out of the food chain?
No whales, no dolphins, no marine life. Yeah, you say the 400 million tonne of krill, it sounds like a lot, but you're not sure where it all is and whether the ecosystem would recover. And just as an aside, so if you remember back to May last year, and David Attenborough produced a movie called Ocean.
Yep.
Where he focused on big industrial fishing and illegal fishing, etc. So it was a pretty interesting movie, but as an aside, the filming that was done in Antarctica of the industrial fishing, we took the crew down there with David on our ship.
Right.
So there's a connection between the movie Ocean and Sea Shepherd.
Yeah. Okay. So this will be part of the event at Brisbane, the Brisbane Ocean Defence Tour.
Yep.
Is coming next month. What are going to be some of the things that are going to be talked about or viewed at the Ocean Defence Tour?
Okay. Good question. Now we're getting to the pointy end, Dave.
Yeah.
The Ocean Defence Tour it doesn't happen every year. It happens every 2 or 3 years, and it's an opportunity to shine a light on what Sea Shepherd's doing in Australia. And we take the opportunity to have our global director of Sea Shepherd operations, Captain Peter Hammerstead, who'll be our guest speaker. And I guess this is the opportunity to hear from the guy who actually manages the whole global operation. And the operation here in Australia is just as important as what happens in Europe and West Africa. And I guess it's to shine a light on what we're doing here. So we've got our krill, our Antarctic krill campaign. We also have focus on our shark defence campaign to remove nets.
Yeah, so that's another campaign that is close to us here in southeast Queensland, is the Shark Net campaign. Very interesting. We've talked to Shark Net, anti-Shark Net campaigners before. Sorry, go on.
I'll talk about that in a sec, but I guess the other focus is on our sea lion campaign, which is very targeted for the Australian sea lion, which is endangered and only lives on a few islands in South Australia.
Right, okay.
And so to highlight that, our main campaign leader, a guy called Dirk Holman, will be present at our Ocean Defence event to talk about what's happening in South Australia at the moment in terms of why that seal population's endangered and what Sea Shepherd's doing about it.
Yeah. Okay, well, it all sounds really interesting. We did get a text in from a non-subscriber. I will still read it out. Are there any petitions the public can sign?
The answer to that is yes. I referred to it before in terms of the going on to our Sea Shepherd Australia website.
Yep.
And drilling down to getting involved. It's about you can directly sign up to our onshore krill.
Yep.
So it's not so much a petition. What it is you allow Sea Shepherd. You can do it yourself. You can send an email to the Chemist Warehouse of this world, or you can get Sea Shepherd to do it.
Yep.
And it's a fairly simple process.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go to another song now. I've got a Cuckoo Coco song lined up. It does require a language warning, but we'll be back after this song. We're talking to Paul Bewes, the Brisbane coordinator for Sea Shepherd. You're listening to 4ZZZ. This is Eco Radio.
4ZZZ's Radio Reversal has gone digital. Since 2012, the collective have been building a record of radio theorising, organising, mistake-making, rethinking and community building that happens across this city. So, if 1 hour a week isn't enough for you, head to radioreversal.substack.com to learn more about the Radio Reversal podcast, or listen to the full episodes via your favourite podcasting app.
We're joined in the studio by Paul Bewes. Paul is the Brisbane chapter coordinator for Sea Shepherd. We've been talking about illegal fishing up north. We've been talking about legal krill decimation in the Antarctic waters. And we've been talking about the upcoming event for the Ocean Defence Tour here in Brisbane. Paul, can you tell me some of the specifics for the Ocean Defence Tour? Where is it? When is it? And how can I get in?
Okay, thanks, Dave. So as I was saying, that this is held every couple of years, so this is a big deal for us. This is about fundraising, about raising awareness. Our Brisbane event is being held on Sunday the 27th of September at the New Farm Bowls Club.
Nice.
A great venue.
Yep.
What the plan is that we'll have our two speakers, Peter Hammerstead and Dirk Holman from our Sea Lion Defence campaign. We will be showing the premiere of The Last Octopus.
Right. So this is a documentary about the taking of octopuses in the Mediterranean Sea.
Correct. Right. So if you it's a really good story, and it's a great doco that is premiering for the first time in Australia.
Right.
So it's only just been produced. So I guess this is a great opportunity to meet a lot of people who think the same, right? And it's currently on our Sea Shepherd website, so it's ticketed, so you jump on and buy a ticket.
Yep. We'll also leave a link to it on our show notes here at 4ZZZ. But I would like to talk quickly about the Sea Lion campaign. Leader of that campaign, Dirk Holman, will be speaking at the event. But I want to understand, what are the threats to sea lions in South Australia? I can't imagine that we're hunting them or killing them on purpose, right?
Yeah, the problem about this one is that the Australian sea lion is endangered. And the reason it's endangered is that the population has been dropping. And basically, researchers out of the South Australian universities and government have been trying to figure out why. And normally they would breed every year. Now they're only breeding every couple of years.
Oh.
So Sea Shepherd's come on board with with a bunch of researchers and scientists to try and figure out why that is happening. The islands that they live on have no trees. So one of the things that we're doing in terms of direct action is that the pups, when they're born, need to survive, and they can't actually go out to the ocean for about 6 months.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, so they actually don't suddenly just jump into the water.
Not like the turtles.
Yeah, no, they're definitely not like the turtles coming out of the nest. So what we've done is the islands are fairly remote. We've got one of our smaller vessels that we use, and we've created shelters for the pups.
Right.
To protect them from the sun. Right. So it's a fairly simple approach, but it's one way of trying to increase the survival rate for those pups that generally now are only getting born every 2 years.
Okay.
So ultimately, the scientists might be able to find out why the population is declining, given the fact they're endangered.
Right, and and so they need sun shelter for those 6 months.
Yeah.
Wow.
If you jump onto the Sea Shepherd website, you'll see photos of the sea lion campaign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is actually kind of like turtles. I was talking to the park ranger up at Mon Repos, saying that they are starting to trial shade houses for the nests, the egg nests, because the heat, obviously not obviously, but turtle nests determine sex via whether it's hot or cold, and so the hot weather, due to climate change, global warming, is turning more turtles female, which is obviously bad for ongoing populations. So, it's interesting that these two species, hundreds of kilometres apart, are using the same shelter. Climate change is a real kicker.
It certainly is. And
thanks so much, Paul, for joining us today. We have one last thing before we sign off. We like to collate or collect a bunch of environmental and peace activities that you can be a part of here in southeast Queensland. I call it the Bushcare Roundup, and it goes a little something like this.
It's a Bushcare Roundup. They've been pulling out weeds, and then they put in trees. It's the Bushcare Roundup.
All right, kicking off this Friday, the 28th at 9 a.m, you can go to a tree planting in memory of Jinibara elder Uncle Noel Blair. That's in Linville. Greenhide Reserve, Linville. Then at 6:30, you can go to the Quoll Society spotlighting at Broadwater State Forest. That's in Applethorpe. A bit of a drive, but definitely worth it. On Saturday the 29th at 9 a.m, you can go to Friends of Cedar hands-on habitat restoration. That's Red Cedar Park in Diagula. On Sunday the 30th at 8 a.m, you can go to Thredbo Park Bushcare Group Working Bee. That's in Belmont. At 8 o'clock as well, you can go to the Queer Birders Port of Brisbane Bird Walk. That's Port of Brisbane. At 8 o'clock, you can go to the N4C Nursery Working Bee. That's in Greenslopes. And at 8:30, you can go to the Cicada Park Bushcare Working Bee. That's Chapel Hill. On the Sunday at 3 p.m, you can go to the DeSoto Place Bushcare Working Bee. That's at Carisbrook Circuit Park. There's also at 9 o'clock a weed identification workshop at Karawatha Forest Discovery Centre. And that's all we've got for you today. Thank you so much for listening in. We're going to hand you over to the feedback loop with Sophie and Emmy. Please listen in. They are always starting off their show with a Smashing Pumpkins song, and I've been trying my best to guess what song they've got lined up. Today, I'm going to guess their most famous song, 1979, and I'm getting a no. No, probably not. All right, well, that was Eco Radio. You've been listening to 4ZZZ. I'll see you next week. Enjoy.
4ZZZ. Eco Radio.
Radical Radio Collective.
4ZZZ.